Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video today we're checking out a video titled Top 10 Badass Moments in One Piece. So if you like this video, go subscribe to the original creator. But I'll be doing a lot of One Piece type reaction videos. I'll react to all the openings. I'll react to a lot of videos about One Piece. I'm going to react to the series fairly soon. But we're checking out some top 10 One Piece moments, badass moments from One Piece. So let's get right into it today. Let's go.
There's something to be said about small moments in anime that make a big impression. One Piece is littered with such moments. They serve as catalysts for plot progression and character development. They might even provide some foreshadowing of the important events to come. Sometimes they're integral to the overall story or the arc in which they occur, and sometimes they're a juicy accompaniment that might not be central to the story, but that definitely make it better. Almost always, they depict courage, heroism, and attitude, qualities we look for in all of our favorite anime characters.
That is true.
Naturally,
that is true.
They're all badass moments.
Badass moment, let's go.
Here are the top 10 badass moments in One Piece. There are major plot revelations ahead here, so a spoiler alert is now in full effect. So without further ado, let's get started. At number 10, we...
So yeah, you're telling me Zoro cuts that monster in half? I mean, look at the size of it. Okay, yeah, I know we just started off, but this definitely is a badass moment.
Have the moment when Zoro cuts Pika in half. The shape-shifting enemy that can turn an entire country into a part of his body gives the Straw Hats immeasurable trouble in the Dressrosa arc. They might laugh at his squeaky voice, but they know better than to make light of one of the top 3 officers of the Don Quixote family. So, to see Zoro, who spent a lot of his time in Dressrosa wandering off and getting lost, cut the stone monster in half is immensely satisfying.
And with such a clean cut as well.
Pika, forcing him to reveal himself in his true form. Pika's defeat is proof of Zoro's growing strength and skill. It takes him that much closer to his goal of becoming the world's greatest swordsman. His belief that there's nothing he can't cut makes this one of those moments you can't help but cheer loudly for.
Yeah, definitely, and it seems like there's a good build-up as well, but man, that was such a clean cut as well from Zoro. Oh, he does it with such skill as well, man. That's so clean to watch. Zoro Senpai.
Next up is a haki-fight Luffy knocking out 50,000 fishmen in the Fishmen Island arc. When Hody Jones boasts that Luffy and his crew number just 10, whereas he has 100,000 men at his disposal, even some of the Straw Hats are overwhelmed by the threat. Luffy reduces that threat by half in an instant. Talk about evening the odds, hey? It's a proud moment for the Straw Hats who realize...
Bro, Luffy is such a beast. He took out 50,000 of those seamen in an instant. I mean, if you're like the leader of this, you kind of just retreat after that, like, right? You're not gonna stay and fight, because if he can take him out that easily, yeah, it's not even worth it in the end.
Their captain has mastered Conqueror's Haki. For fans, it's the payoff we get to see after the 2 years Luffy spent training with Rayleigh. What also contributes to making this moment special is the fact that One Piece uses its Haki sparingly. Unlike a lot of other anime that overexpose their power-ups, Haki's a rare commodity in One Piece, mastered by a chosen few and used only in big moments. For Luffy, the incident at Fishman Island is one of his early uses of Haki after the time skip, but remains an unforgettable memory.
Oh,
that's a good line. You can be king of whatever you want, but there's only one king of the pirates.
It's another one-man show at number 8 with Law cutting Punk Hazard in half. For all of his lectures to Luffy about the virtues of lying low and fighting cautiously, the captain of the Heart Pirates is known to make some big and bold moves every now and then. Challenging Doflamingo to a fight for purely personal reasons is one. Plotting
Everyone's always getting cut in half in this show.
As for his flashiest moment in battle, it's without a doubt his dismantling of Virgo and the island of Punk Hazard. Showing that he's one of the most imaginative devil fruit powers around, Law needs just one swing of his blade to cut Virgo in half, despite the latter's body being entirely armored in haki. In the process, the facility, which produces the main ingredient for Doffy's fake devil fruits, and the mountain it's built on also get carved beyond repair. It's a moment where you can't help but be impressed by the Surgeon of Death.
Yeah, everyone seems to be getting cut in half in this show. Like I said, I don't really know anything about it, but the fake devil fruits, okay, that definitely has piqued my interest. I would love to know kind of the meaning behind that. But I definitely think it's kind of a smart idea because, like, in real life, of course, you get knock off everything. So I definitely think that's quite a smart idea. So I don't know if it's kind of he's selling it, if it's to mess with people think they got a real one. I don't really know the meaning behind that, but that'll be quite interesting to find out.
At number 7, we have a special moment from the Marineford arc, which is crowded with special moments. After taking the aerial route into the fortress-like marine headquarters, Luffy gets airborne once again, this time using a pillar of water and a ship's mast to propel himself towards the execution platform and Ace. But standing in his way are the 3 admirals. Talking purely from the visual standpoint, the image of the young upstart standing up to the Navy's 3 strongest warriors and directly challenging their authority makes for a great poster. However, Luffy recklessly facing off against Aokiji, Kizaru and Akainu is important not only for the visuals and the events taking place. It seems in all likelihood to be a foreshadowing of the final confrontation between the man who will be the Pirate King and the authorities standing in his way. We can't wait to see what happens when the anime eventually winds down to such a finale.
Yeah, that's always a badass moment when you have like the protagonist, the hero, he's kind of standing up for himself against enemies that are like on paper are more powerful than him, but you know he's gonna come through.
Up next is a similar scene from the Enies Lobby arc, this time with the Straw Hats challenging not the Navy, but the world government. And this time too, the reason is personal. Robin's being captured by the CP9, the world government's top secret group of assassins. Luffy and gang break into Enies Lobby, the notoriously fortified judicial island that serves as the organization's headquarters. Rarely do we see the Straw Hats stand as a single team in one frame. Most of the time they're off doing their own thing, but here, seeing them all together on the roof of the courthouse and standing shoulder to shoulder as they challenge the CP9 and its leader Spandam, it's impossible not to feel a rush of excitement.
Yeah, like I've only just started reacting to the videos about One Piece and I can tell that is like a cool moment. The fact that the squad, I mean, you've probably seen them together, but all at one shot, standing in a pose like that with the music and it kind of does the pan. That is a cool moment.
The detestable Spandam points to the futility of their challenge, bragging that the small crew's no match for the government's might. In response, Luffy has Sogeking shoot a flaming arrow at the government flag. It's a declaration of war that shows Luffy has no problem picking a fight with someone bigger and stronger than him.
And that's why he's a legend. Can't be a legend if you ain't picking fights with people bigger and stronger than you. That's what I have to say. And before we get into it, I have to say, I would have said that would probably be number 1. Like, that was a super badass moment. So I'm kind of curious to see what can top that, because that was a super badass moment to me personally. So.
The Straw Hats walk to Arlong Park to challenge. Arlong takes the 5th spot. This was at a time when the crew had only 4 members, and it comes right after that unforgettable scene where the usually ballsy Nami breaks down in tears and asks Luffy to help her save her village from the tyranny of the Arlong pirates. Handing his hat to his future navigator for safekeeping, Luffy gathers his troops, which comprises of Zoro, Sanji and Usopp, and the 4 march to Arlong Park. It's an iconic moment reminiscent of many a memorable walking scene from the movies. When sidekicks Johnny and Yosaku tell the villagers these 4 men are worth betting their lives on, you might find yourselves nodding in agreement. Again, in terms of imagery, this moment makes the same impact as the previously discussed challenge to the world government at Enies Lobby and the Straw Hats' farewell to Vivi in the Alabasta arc. It just goes to show that putting the Straw Hats together in one frame is a thing of magic. I think for a lot of fans, this was a turning point in the series where they went from liking the series to loving it. And I can see exactly why.
Okay, yeah, I could see why, okay. Because this is near the start of the show. All the odds against them, I mean, they're just 4 people, really. And she's always like, I've seen her slap people, I've seen her punch people. And yeah, she kind of has like a strong attitude to her. But the fact that she breaks down crying and asks her for help shows like a bit of humility to her and kind of makes you resonate with her. Rather than just being a strong thing, she lets down her defenses, and it's just like a beautiful moment, that seems like. So I'm kind of excited to get to that episode. I can see why it's ranked so high. Oh, he's got a flaming fist. And his name's Shanks.
The Marineford arc is the one arc in One Piece that's guaranteed to make the viewer an emotional wreck thanks to its numerous acts of courage, betrayal,
I think I've seen that before.
Tragedy.
In one of the openings.
It also has one of the most powerful conclusions as Shanks appears during the final assault and puts an end to what's now just senseless fighting.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember Shanks. He's the one who gives Luffy the hat, right? Okay.
Due to this intervention, Luffy gets away safely, Akainu is stopped, thousands of lives are saved, and the fallen get the dignity they deserve in death. It's a moment that reveals the true strength of this Yonko, who's remained a mystery to us all these years despite being a central figure in Luffy's life. That Fleet Admiral Sengoku is willing to listen to him, an adversary and a pirate, raises our expectations for what Shanks is capable of in the future. This is also one of the few times we see Shanks as the powerful pirate that he is, with his ship and crew by his side. Cameo appearances don't get any more powerful than this.
まだ暴れ足りない奴がいるのなら
Yeah, sometimes you gotta learn to take the L and just back away if that guy pulls up on you.
Whitebeard's entrance at Marineford is anime legend by now. His death's even more epic, but there's a moment in between that really says a lot about the kind of man he is. There's no honor in ganging up on an opponent, even one as fearsome as the towering Whitebeard, yet the Marines single him out, throwing everything they've got at him. It's a good strategy, but hardly heroic. What's heroic is Whitebeard's response as he stops his crew from rushing to his aid. "I am Whitebeard," he roars, even with his body bearing hundreds of battle wounds and cannonball smoke rising from his face. With just these words, he makes the Marines, who pride themselves as upholders of justice, look dirty and dishonorable. And those aren't empty words.
Yeah, whenever a character sacrifices themselves in a show, you know they're a legend. That's just like a legendary act. So I could see this being a top badass moment.
Beard goes on to show the Marines just who they're messing with, and we can't help but be proud.
Yeah, like he knows it's all over for him, but he's going to go out fighting. He's not letting them take it down easily. Look at the damage he's causing. Legendary. Oh yeah, the
As you
dragon. I
might
think I've
already
seen this
know,
in the
One
opening.
Piece, the celestial dragons aren't just nobility, but practically godlike. Even the carefree Luffy understands that they're not to be trifled with, no matter what atrocities they commit. Well, he gets it in theory, at least anyway. But when the idiotic Saint Charlos shoots Hachi at the slave auction and Luffy gets that glint in his eye, you know it's not going to end well for the high-handed noble. Hachi's entreaties to Luffy to let the matter slide, even going to the extent of saying he deserves to be shot, makes no difference to Luffy,
Wow.
who marches up to Charlos and socks him in the face. One punch and Charlos is out for the count. Apparently, that fishbowl-like headgear the celestial dragons wear isn't exactly much protection. What Luffy does is audacious, even for someone who's in the habit of doing the exact opposite of what he's told. But seeing a bully get what he deserves is immensely satisfying.
Such a clean punch.
And that brings us to number 1, and it's Zoro's finest hour yet in the service of his captain.
あの渋海どこに
Having realized that Luffy and the rest of the crew are too exhausted from their battle with Gecko Moria and his zombie army to have any real chance of survival against Bartholomew Kuma, Zoro makes the ultimate sacrifice. Unknown to them, the proud swordsman gets down on his knees and asks the warlord to spare Luffy and the others, offering himself up for punishment on their behalf.
No.
Due to the nature of Kuma's powers, that means taking all of Luffy's pain and fatigue into his own body. "I'll show you hell," Kuma promises, reminding Zoro that he might not survive the ordeal. Zoro does survive it somehow, and when
Thank
Sanji
God.
later finds him covered in blood but still standing, he asks what happened. Nothing happened. A typical answer from a man of few words, and yet it's so telling. It's just one of the many things that make this strong and loyal pirate such a badass. The fact that Luffy doesn't know about this little incident to this day makes this moment even more special.
Oh, that's so cold. Okay, I can see why.
there-
I can see why that's number 1. That's probably one of the coldest scenes I've seen. What? Literally, he takes Luffy's punishment. You see him bleeding. He's literally in so much pain. And we've seen Luffy, he does some crazy battles. So he probably, obviously, he's going to be in pain, but he'd probably survive and be fine. But Zoro's like, nah, I'll take it. And then he said nothing happened. I was getting goosebumps watching that. Zoro is a straight legend. We've seen him there from the start. Him and Luffy going on this crazy adventure, and he really does have his boys back. That's what I love to see. They all have such like a close bond to them. Obviously, they have their moments where it looks like they fight and they argue, but yeah, they're all, the friendship they have, so good to watch.
There you have it. The top 10 badass moments in One Piece. Which one do you think was the most badass? Write to me in the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, press the like button. You can also subscribe to ViniTube for more anime and One Piece content. There's plenty here that might catch your otaku eye. Be sure to tune in for my next video, and until then, goodbye and stay safe.
Okay, so the most badass moment, you know what it is, what I just described. Zoro sacrificed himself to take Luffy's pain. And obviously, I think the another badass moment is when they all join together near the start, and where they basically save her village. She breaks down asking for help. I've seen a few clips of her, and she's like a strong character. She never lets anything bother her. She never really shows that type of side to her, but then she's vulnerable. She asks for Luffy's help. And obviously Luffy obliges, and they're outnumbered, of course. And we also see Luffy take down 50,000 fishmen with like instantly. So that's a badass moment. Just so many badass moments throughout the show, it seems like. So if you guys want more reaction to One Piece, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everyone.